Firstly, who here is a developer? Hobbyist? WordPress hobbyist? Yep. Designer? You can leave. No. This presentation is about design, but it is directed for people that may not have any design experience, real design experience or formal education. I am one of those people that doesn't have a lot of formal design education, and I've learnt this stuff over time. So yeah, we'll just dive in, and we should have plenty of time for questions at the end if you've got any. So I'm so excited to be here. WordCamp is my favourite event, and I'm just so proud that it's back and we're running again. So this talk was born out of years of working with designers, developers, VAs, and small business owners who fell into design. So they didn't have that formal training, and I did exactly the same. And this is what I kept seeing. So some really solidly built websites that were just missing the mark. One sec. I've got to find my mouse. There we go. So, and it wasn't because that they didn't care or they didn't think about the design. No one ever taught them the basics. So if you've ever second guessed your design skills or you feel like you're winging it, this is for you. Now, design is subjective. So the designers in the room, subjective, and you can break design rules, but I just encourage you to do it with intention. So today I'm going to share 5 simple fixes that will make all the difference in your web designs. You don't need a fancy design degree, and don't stress about taking notes. I'm going to give you a link. Actually, the link is on there now. You can have all the slides. There's a transcript, which I'm not following exactly, but save you writing notes. All right. Now, let's rewind. Before I worked in web design, I worked in telco and finance. Everything from customer service, business development, sales, marketing. Honestly, not the path that you'd expect to lead into web design. Oh no. Yep. It's very temperamental. Okay, so it gave me something that most designers don't have, which is this mouse, guys, sorry. Got it back, yep. So it gave me a deep understanding of sales and decision-making processes and what make people take action online. So in 2014, I launched my own design business, Brand Shack, and I said yes to everyone from pet groomers to tradies, and over time I did find my sweet spot, which is people selling digital products online, so course creators, memberships, recurring revenue professionals. And eventually I thought, why can't I do that? And then came my first course, Woo Wizardry, created to help web designers expand their services and create more value. In 2023, I founded WP Mavens with Emma Kate. It's a space for women in WordPress to grow, learn, and start charging what they're actually worth. And finally, earlier this year, I launched the Web Design Crash Course. So none of this was linear, and it was all self-taught, scrappy, and refined along the way, which is why this talk exists. So I like figuring it out on the go. A few extra things about me. I'm a mum, a wife, I bought a collie wrangler, I live on coffee and chaos. I'm forever booking a trip somewhere, and I believe in lifestyle over hustle because I've done the burnout and it's not a badge of honour. My goal now is to continue building a thriving business, doing the things that I love and having time for the people that I care about. Okay, number 1, when someone lands on your website, they make a judgment call in 3 seconds, and that's not an exaggeration. So what they see above the fold matters than anything below. And here's what works for me. A simple, clear headline. It's not a place for a vague inspiration or fluffy taglines. Helping you live your best life, your headline needs to be specific, clear, and outcome-driven. So you need to ask yourself, who do you serve? What problem do you solve? What results do you deliver? And instead of something like transform your business, try web design for coaches ready to grow their email list and sell more online. And if someone lands on your site and can't tell what you do in 3 seconds, they will bounce. This headline is your hook, so you need to make it count. A single, purposeful call to action, not a buffet of buttons. So above the fold is not the place to ask your visitor to view my services or sign up for my newsletter. Pick the one action that will move them forward in their journey with you. If you're if you're a service provider, things like book a discovery call. If you want to sell a course, join my waitlist. And if you want to build your list, take this quiz or download the free guide. You need a strong, relevant image. Show your face or your product or your service in action. So we are visual creatures and we need images to create an instant connection. If you are the brand, use a photo of yourself smiling and making eye contact. It builds trust. If you're selling a product, show it being used in real life. If you sell a service, consider a screen, mock-up or behind-the-scenes imagery of you at work. Avoid stock images that scream stock, overly dark or moody images that unless it's a real brand choice, and images that compete with your headline for attention. Clear navigation. Keep it boring. So boring is usable. Your top menu should be simple, scannable, and expected. You're not here to reinvent the wheel. Stick with labels like home, about, services, portfolio, blog, and contact. Avoid things like my journey or what I do. Say hello. They may feel creative, but they force your user to think. People are really lazy, and that's bad user experience. So people skim. Your job is to guide them, not to impress them with clever copy. There is a place for that. It's just not above the fold. If you only offer one core service or package, then lead people straight to that from your main page. Fewer clicks equal higher conversions. Above the fold isn't your life story, it's your elevator pitch. Number 2, topography is one of the biggest giveaways of that DIY or self-taught design, but it's also one of the easiest fixes. And this is where designers are going to start arguing with me. You don't need fancy fonts, you need clarity and consistency. Body text should be at least 16 pixels. Text that's too small forces your user to squint, or worse, give up and leave. 16 pixels is the minimum for readability on desktop, and even then, if your font is thinner or more decorative, you may need to bump it up. On mobile also, you need to increase the font size as well. Now, prioritise legibility over style. The amount of times I've seen a beautiful script font, but you can't read the word, or the word reads as something it shouldn't, it's crazy. Now, this is where it gets controversial. I preferred, use no more than 2 fonts, one for the heading, one for body text. Using 2 complementary fonts keeps your design cohesive, easy to scan, and professional. So try this approach, just something that I've always done. A heavier serif or display font like Playfair or Libra, Baskerville, and a clean sans serif font, so Open Sans, Lato, or Inter. Now, bonus, stick to Google fonts or widely supported web-safe fonts to avoid performance issues and browser quirks. Please don't stretch the text across the entire page. Keep it readable, keep the line width readable, so within 60 to 80 characters. So if you've ever landed on a website where the paragraph stretches the full width of your 27-inch screen, it is exhausting. Studies show that people read more easy when lines are around 60 to 80 characters long, including the spaces. Text that's too wide breaks the reader's rhythm, makes it hard to scan, and it causes visual fatigue. So again, something I always bring back to for myself for design principles, people are lazy. So if they have to move their head even that slightest bit, they're going to bounce. My rule of thumb to keep that 60 to 80 pixels is a max container of 700 to 800 pixels, and you can just center it. So establish a hierarchy so that your heading tags H1, H2, H3, and stick to it. Every page should start with a single H1 tag, which is your page title, followed by H2s for sections, H3 for subpoints. The job of this hierarchy is to guide the eye, and it's for you, and it creates structure for users and screen readers, which is also incredibly important. Without it, your content becomes a wall of text. Don't just bold and increase the size, actually use the heading tags in your builder or theme. Now, number 3, white space is the space between things. And it's not always white. but it's what makes your design feels calm, easy, elevated, and really easy to navigate. If every section of your site is jam-packed together with no breathing room, users don't know where to look. So here's where you can use white space. So around headings and paragraphs, when headings are crammed too close together to the paragraphs, they look like stacked bricks and your content becomes dense and overwhelming. So add top and bottom margin around each so that the eye can pause and reset. So use line height, aka line spacing, to make body text more breathable. Think of it like a pause in your conversation. It helps people absorb what they're actually reading. Between sections. So when you move from one section to another, like from the About or the Services section on your homepage, or features to testimonials, the brain needs a visual cue that things are changing. Using more padding between sections. Use more vertical padding between these sections than you actually think. Around buttons. Really important to give them space to stand out. Your call to action is what you want your users to take action with. But if it's lost in a wall of text or crammed in a corner, they'll scroll right past. Avoid placing buttons immediately below. Sorry, that is a typo. Give the button its own breathing room so it's easy to see and click as well. Especially on mobile, when they're too close together, it makes them really hard to click. In your header and footer, don't pack them out with links. Your header and footer are often treated like a junk drawer, specifically the footer, with every link possible jammed in there. More options equals more confusion. Limit your top navigation to 5 to 7 key pages max. Use drop-downs or secondary menus sparingly and as needed. And in the footer, group links logically. So you would have maybe your information or your product categories or your blog categories in separate sections. Less is more, your site feels calmer, more premium and easier to navigate. All right, call to action buttons or CTAs, because they're one of the most important elements on any website. You need to make them unmissable. You can have a stunning layout, gorgeous typography, and perfect white space, but if your call to action is weak, confusing, or hidden, you'll lose that conversion. Your call to action is a moment of truth. It's the bridge between I'm just browsing or let's do this. Whether you're booking a discovery call, signing up for more emails to your newsletter, or buying the product, the call to action is where the magic happens. If you've ever clicked on the wrong button on the site or missed it altogether, that's a call to action problem. And if your clients aren't getting the results on their site, this is one of the first places to look. Use one consistent colour for all call to actions across the site. If every button is a different shade or completely different style, users don't know where to click. You want them to know where they take action, so pick that one bold colour and stick with it. Use action verbs like learn more or submit. Words like learn more or submit are boring and they don't tell the user what they actually need to do. So instead say things like book your spot, download the free guide, join the waitlist or start the quiz. Your call to action should finish the sentence, I want to. Avoid stacking multiple call to actions. This is a big one. When you've got 3 different buttons fighting for attention, view my portfolio, view my services, work with me, the user doesn't know where to click. Keep it focused, one page, one purpose, one main call to action at a time. Let's look at 2 examples. So here's a bad example. Small pastel coloured background with white text that says click here. There's no context, no contrast, and no clue what they're clicking into. Good example. We've got a bolder button with contrasting black text. There's a clear action, join the waitlist, clear benefit, and that visually stands out. If your clients are ever asking, why aren't I converting? This is where you need to start. Your job as the designer isn't just to make something look good, it's to make it work. So a strong call to action guides the user, builds trust, and creates momentum, and that's what leads to results. When in doubt, ask, is it clear what action I want them to take? Is that action easy to find? And does it feel like a natural next step? If the answer's no, it's time to tweak. Righto, let's talk about colour, because your colour palette does a lot more than looking pretty. It sets the emotional tone, it builds brand recognition, and it guides attention. Again, this is controversial, but when you use too many colours or use them inconsistently, things start to feel messy really quickly. So here's my simple rule to follow. And you can call me a hypocrite because I break these rules all the time. Stick to 3 core colours, 1 main brand colour. This is your go-to shade and it shows up the most. You've got 1 accent colour, use it to draw attention for things like your buttons or things you want to highlight, and then a neutral just to give you an additional contrast for body text, backgrounds, and breathing space. So that's it. If you have 3 well-chosen colours, you can intentionally always outperform a rainbow. Consistency helps people understand what's important. Every section, every button or heading is a different colour. Nothing stands out. Your users have to work harder just to figure out what's next. Now, we've covered a lot of rules in this presentation, and for a good reason. They're here to help us build something, build solid foundations, and create designs that feel intentional, user-friendly, and professional. But once you understand the rules, you can break them. Design is creative and it's expressive, and the most striking websites don't always follow the rules. They don't always follow every best practice to the letter because they work, but they work because the designer knew the rule and broke it with purpose. You might break alignment for emphasis. Use unexpected colour combinations to stand out. Embrace white space in a way that feels wildly minimalist, or fill a section edge to edge with bold visuals. The key is knowing why you're doing it and not just accidentally creating chaos. A broken rule should make the experience better and not worse. It should draw the eye and it should tell a story and create a mood. So none of this is about making your site perfect. It's about making it intentional. Clear headlines, consistent fonts, space to breathe, obvious buttons, and a focused colour palette. Those little tweaks can take your site from, yeah, it works, to hell yeah, it converts. You don't need a design degree. I'm proof of that. You just need to care enough to improve. 1 layout at a time. So you can head over here, you can grab the slides and the transcript. And if you want any of the action tips I've shared today, there is a free 5-day website glow up challenge too. So that's it.
We doing questions?
20 minutes.
Left. You have. So.
Thanks, PK.
Probably should. That should help, right? Yeah. I'm not threatening.
Yep, up the back. Run.
Hello.
Hi.
Where you guys like, what are you?
I'm a Divi user. So,
Sorry,
yep.
what?
Divi. I use Page Builder Divi. I have experience with Beaver Builder, and I'm starting to have a look into Oxygen and Breakdance. I'm looking at it, but I'm a big fan of pick one tool. It doesn't matter which one you use, but own it and really learn how to push it to its limits. I've had Divi since I started in 2014 or 2015. Consistency. Pick one and use it. Yeah. I think left align is easier to read. So that would probably be my preference. Again, I'm a huge rule breaker. So now that I know the rules, if I do it, I've got one particular website, so Maven's, all the rules are broken. So I feel like the biggest hypocrite standing up here and say, only use 3 colours or 2 fonts. Everything's centre aligned on mobile on that. But most of my sites, anything that's sort of corporate course creators, unless they've got that funkier feel, I've just kept it left aligned. Yeah, yeah. But bringing in those containers to that 700 pixels gives you a bit more flexibility on desktop to do center aligned if you wanted to. You can't do that. Yeah. 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 Any more questions? I think it's for the recording. Yeah, so I created a 5-day challenge, which basically goes through the 5 points, and it just gives you an action each day over 5 days to make those changes either on your own website or a client's website. And it's got like a little 5 to 10 minute video that walks you through that in a bit more detail than I can do here. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in improving or your own website or a client's, it's handy to have just that bit of accountability sometimes. Depends on the site. Yeah. We've pushed Divi a lot on a different websites. As long as it's clear. Honestly, I don't think it matters. The push down, preference, how the other site works. I think if you've got if you're using animations, maybe the push down kind of fits in with that, the fluidity of the design. Whereas if it's a bit more static, the pop-up with the hamburger's perfectly fine. Yeah, yeah. Any more? Oh, Pinterest. So being the niches that I work with a lot of course creators, predominantly female, we do a lot more feminine design. So that's kind of where I can find a lot of inspiration there. The more corporate ones, Google. Yeah, but I have quite a few Pinterest boards for different sort of niches and things like that. So that's probably my main one I find. Another good place is Etsy. So Etsy sells templates for all the different builders and the CMSs out there. So that's a really great place to kind of have a look and see what's there.